Welcome back to iShine Connect.
I want to talk a little bit about gossip. What does that mean to you?
Well, I think it's when someone's talking about someone else in a harsh way, you know, and it can affect people like really bad. I know I've been affected by gossip too, and it's just talking about someone else behind their back, basically.
Have you had people talk about you and gossip about you and kind of had the effect of that really hurting, or how do you deal with that?
Whenever it's a really tough situation, I just pray to God, you know, God, please don't let me say, you know, the wrong thing to someone. Like, why is this person saying something about me, you know? Just to try not to do that, and just to talk to my parents about it too. Like, I tell them everything, and so that helps me a lot too before I go to talk about it to my friends, because sometimes I could say something that I wish I would never say, you know?
Have you ever confronted someone who has said something about you? Have you ever said, hey, look?
Like, if it's a friend, then I go to that friend and I will ask them, you know, is there anything bothering you, or have I said anything to you that, you know, made you think you have to talk about me?
Okay, so if you hear like a really juicy story at school and you're just like, your first reaction is, oh my gosh, I want to go tell my best friend, or I want to go tell whatever, how do you refrain, or how do you say, oh, I really shouldn't?
If I was that person, would I want someone talking about me, you know? Because it can affect people, and if it's none of my business, then I probably shouldn't say anything at all.
Where do you draw the line, though? Because sometimes there's certain things that seem like common knowledge that you're like, well, people already probably know it. It's probably not a big deal if I just say something. I mean, do you think that there's a line when you can tell certain people, or should you always just keep it to yourself, or how do you kind of...
I think, you know, you should just keep it to yourself, because, again, just trying to put yourself in that position, or whatever, you know, you think, if that's okay to say, if that person was right there, then would they be okay with saying that?
You going?
Yeah, rolling. Action.
Okay. Potato, tomato, monkey. No, you messed it up. Monkey. It's always monkey. No, you say banana. No, it's banana.
If someone comes to you and they say, oh, I've got to tell you a secret, but it ends up being something that is really harmful to them, like they're doing something to themselves that's really harmful and they need help, do you tell another person?
If you want to be a good friend to that person, I say, you know, you just if it's harming them, and if you want the best for them, then you should tell an adult, because it could be a really bad situation in the end. But it can be hard, because you don't want that person to not talk to you anymore, but
to not trust
trust you. But the best situation is just to go to an adult and tell them, because I know it can be really hard, you know, because you think of those things, you know, oh, are they going to be my friend afterwards? But you just have to think, you know, what's the best, you know, way to handle the situation, and that's the best way.
Right. And I mean, hopefully they would understand too that you're only doing it because you love them.
Yeah.
And you want to help them. And it's not like you would go and tell your friends, but finding someone who can help them.
Exactly.
I think that's a good solution.
What do I do when I know someone's talking about me?
Wow, that's a tough question, because there are so many ways you can handle this situation. Like, my natural instinct when someone's talking about me is just to go to that person and tell them what I think about them. But, you know, really, that doesn't solve anything. So the best advice I can give is just to not take it personal, because people are going to try to talk about you whether you're a nice person or not. So the best advice I can give is just to not take it personal, but prove that person wrong by your actions, because actions are so much louder than words. And people will see through your actions that whoever's trying to gossip about you is just being mean-spirited or trying to start a rumor. And also have compassion for that person, because people who are trying to gossip are insecure about themselves and are trying to cover up their flaws by pointing out someone else's flaws. So that's my advice.
I mean, I think it's so important to understand that, you know, sometimes if someone's talking poorly about you, it is because of their own personal insecurities. And I think, I mean, I take things personally a lot. So if I hear that someone has said something about me, I immediately am like, oh my gosh, you know, and it really hurts me. But I think it really helps to realize that, you know what, Paige, maybe they're struggling with something, and that's the only way that they know how to get it out. Next question is, I can't help myself. I just have to talk about this person because of how they act.
Another tough question. But you know, for us kids, it's okay to have feelings of disappointment or frustration because of how someone's acting because it's bothering you. But it's not okay to talk about it to someone else because it never solves anything. So my best advice, if it's your friend, then you should go to that friend and talk to them and say, you know, is there anything bothering you? Or is there anything happening in your life that you want to talk about? Because they may be having a, bad day, or they woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But if it's your friend, then you should trust to talk to them. And let's say it's someone you don't get along with or someone you don't know, then go to a youth group leader. Like my youth group leader, her name's Kate, she rocks, because we can go to her anytime and we can talk about our problems and solve them out. And also go to your parents because they've probably been through this too.
Is there anything in the Bible about gossip?
Yes, actually there's a bunch of scriptures in the Bible that talk about gossip. Like Psalms 34:14, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from lies. And then there's Proverbs 11:14. A gossip betrays a man's confidence, but a trustworthy man can keep a secret. And basically, whenever I'm tempted to gossip, I can just look back at those scriptures and think, that God doesn't want me to gossip because he wants our hearts to stay holy. And gossip can affect people and bother people too. So that's my advice.
We'll be right back after this short break.
The following message is furnished by Major League Baseball in cooperation with the Players Association.
As a ball player, I make plenty of decisions every game, but the best decision I ever made affected my entire life. I decided to give up drugs, and for me, it was a life-saving choice. As a young person, you make decisions every day. Don't let drugs ruin your future. Make the right choice. Say no to drugs. Baseball cares about you and your family.